Have you ever wondered why some real estate agents perform at ultra-high levels every single year? Welcome to the Unstoppable Agent Podcast with your host, Richard Fournier. Each week, we interview real estate agents from around the world who are constantly ranked in the top 1% of the real estate industry. My mission, share with you their best strategies so that you can create your own peak results as a real estate agent. It's time to become unstoppable.
Well, hello and welcome back to this episode of the Unstoppable Agent Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Rich Fournier. I'm very excited to have, I guess, a young superstar who's climbing the ranks in residential real estate here in Ontario, Canada. For our foreign listeners, Luc Lising with Royal LePage Signature. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Rich.
So I'm excited to have you here. Over the past few years, you seem to have been able to perform at a level in the new construction world that very, 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 very few people are able to operate. So thank you very much for spending some time with us to share some of the strategies around why are you so special compared to some other people? And I mean that with all love in my heart. So we're trying to figure out what is the, that secret sauce of what creates a star performer in the real estate world. So thank you.
Yeah, no worries at all. The secret sauce is actually quite simple, but we'll get into that.
Awesome. So you've been around the game for what? How many years?
Just 4 years now, actually.
4 years in the business. That's unbelievable. And so you're a young guy. You're a young guy. And do you mind if I say how old you are?
Yeah, absolutely. I got licensed when I was 18, and the next day I turned 19. So I guess you could say I started my career at 19, but now I am 22 years old.
22 years old, kicking butt. And, based on some of the conversations we've had, because this podcast is about what creates a top performer, right? Well, what is it? And so we do have to talk numbers a little bit to get people's attention. So that's why some of the, these agents listen. In the last the last 2 years, 98 deals, $68 million worth of business.
So over the last 2 years overall, we've done close to 300 deals, all in new construction. Last year in 2022, when things started to cool down, we wrapped up the year, and I can confidently say we did 98 transactions. And the year before that, we did just about 200 deals. So overall, 300 deals. Yeah.
And just to clarify for our listeners, those deals were finalized and marketed and put together through you and 3 other agents. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And you're leading the charge with those agents. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So what, when you look back at, getting started in the new construction game, was there a thought out process around, should I do that? Should I do resale? Or was there a process there?
That's a great question, Rich. And it honestly just came because I was desperate. Because my mentor at that time, and my mentor till this day, actually, I'm pretty sure you know him, and I'm sure your audience knows him as well, Jazz Tackar from Rec Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's killing the game, all things real estate. He's done it all when it comes to residential, pre-construction, all of it. But by the time when I met Jazz 3 years ago, he was really focused on, and until now, pre-construction. So the only way for me to learn from him as his mentee when I first met him 3 years ago was to just latch onto pre-construction, because it was what he was doing. I got to see him sell it in action.
Yep. So
because he was already doing that, I was kind of forced to just learn that, industry anyway, that niche anyway. Looking back at it, if I was to tell any new agent how to start, I wouldn't say get into pre-construction, because the way you get paid out as a salesperson is very difficult. Because yes, you get paid well in pre-construction as an agent, but sometimes you don't see a dime for a year. So how, if you're a brand new business owner, if you're a brand new agent, how do you keep that cash flow going? How do you keep that business running if you're not having any money come into your pockets for the first year? So, looking back at it, it would have been nice to get into the residential resale market where I can collect some income right away. But I mean, the fact that in pre-construction, I wasn't getting paid a lot of money right up front, I think that was a good thing, because then I didn't end up spending that money on stupid things and all that stuff.
Right.
It taught me how to manage my money much better.
That's a very, very good point. Thanks for being so transparent about that. And so when you go out and make a decision, okay, I'm gonna work with somebody, but as well as I need to go get my own investors, right? I'm assuming you had to go get your own investors, people who are interested in purchasing new construction, investing in new construction. So if you don't mind, what was your kind of daily method of operation, kind of step by step over the course of a couple of years, to go find those people who wanted to invest in pre-construction and were willing to invest with you? What was that process like?
Yeah, so when I first started getting my own new clients, I did it the wrong way, and I'll tell you why. Because the first thing I did was I saved up thousands of dollars. At the early age of 20, to me, $5,000 was a lot. I would take $5,000 and I would dump it in Facebook, Instagram, and Google Ads. It worked. I got hundreds and hundreds. And I think at one point, I think in my first year, I probably ended up picking up like 1,500 leads. To me, that's a lot of leads, but I didn't do any single deal. What worked was when I called my existing database, people that already knew, like, and trust me, and then worked from there. The mistake that most realtors make is they call their existing database and they feel a little bit of guilt because they feel like they're selling their friends and family something. The reason why I never felt that guilt is because I never sold them anything. I would call them and say, hey, Mary Jane, hey, Joe, I just got started in real estate. I'm brand new. I would love to get your opinion on the marketing that we do. And then, of course, with them being someone that's known me for 10, 15 years, they're going to be like, of course, Luke, I would love to help you out. Then I would say, great. What's your email address? I'm going to send you emails every now and then. Please just send me just text me or reply back with what you think about it and what I can change. They might not ever buy, sell, or invest with me. But the fact that they're going to get an email from me now every 2 weeks, I'm going to stay top of mind. So when they're at work or when they're on the subway and they bump into someone that needs help on their new upcoming lease, or if they need to relocate to a different part of the GTA, they're going to think of Luke because I'm always emailing them. They're always seeing my Instagram posts, me posting about the stats and real estate and all this and that. So I never sold directly to my existing database. I just nurtured that relationship so I could stay top of mind. And that's the best way to go at it, because referrals are much more better clients to have.
So can we just kind of unpack that for a minute?
Completely.
Because I don't know if you're aware, I do talk to a lot of agents every day. And what I'm finding is that there's a gap between knowing and doing. There's a gap between knowing what to do and then actually doing it. There's also a gap in between someone's belief systems. They know they need to keep in contact with people, but they don't actually do the work. So either they don't believe it's going to work, or they're just damn lazy and don't want to do the work, right? Mm. And so what enabled you, or what belief system, or who told you that it was important to stay top of mind, to just collect emails, to market them that way, build a fence around your clients, so to speak, and have faith that it will work out in the future? Like, where did that faith come from?
As much of a genius I sometimes think I am, Rich, I'm really not that smart. That really came from Jazz Taka, the gentleman that mentored me. And my advice to a lot of these people, whether you're new or not, I think if you have a mentor, someone that has accomplished more than you, that knows more than you in the industry that you're in, that person can help prevent you from hitting your head repeatedly against the wall. Imagine if I just kept saving $5,000 chunks and dumping it all into Facebook ads to attract cold leads that don't even know, like, or trust me. Jazz says, stop doing that garbage. Call everyone you know, and then just go from there. They're going to make introductions. One day they're going to have a little bit more money and buy with you. It didn't really come from me just thinking of that strategy. It just came from Jazz saying, okay, what you're doing is absolutely ridiculous. You're going to keep spending this money and you're not going to get anywhere. You might do a couple of deals here and there, but you're not prepared for that. So it really just came from that mentorship. Someone telling me, don't do it that way, do it this way. And it absolutely worked.
Got it. That's great. So you were able to borrow his faith in the strategy. Yeah.
I mean, at that point, I didn't have anything to lose. If he gave me wrong advice, if he was out to screw me over, right. I mean, it's just like, well, okay, back to zero, as if I wasn't already at zero 2 days ago.
Got it. Makes a lot of sense. And for those younger agents out there today, let's talk about that, because I think that there are a lot of agents that are getting in the business, who are in the business, say, for the last year or so, who have decided to make it a career choice. A lot of the, say, older agents who've been around for a while, more than likely this wasn't their first career, right? They fell into it by chance or made a decision after a career or two. But some of the younger agents who decided to come in, some of them that I've spoken to have a mentality that no one wants to talk to me because I'm so young. How would you respond to that?
Yeah, I think as a salesperson, that's where the art comes into play. Because no matter if you're young or old, if you're new or experienced, the main goal that you have as a salesperson is to kind of pivot along the way. So anyone can throw a wrench into your script, but that's the thing. You shouldn't even have a script. You should be able to know how to pivot. So for me, I was selling investment properties to people, over the age of 30, 40, 50 in some cases, right? If they can hear the sound of my voice, if they can clearly see that I'm significantly younger than them, automatically they're going to think, well, this kid's young. But you can mask that with your competence. You can simply mask your age with your competence. If you actually know what you're selling, if you know, in my case, investment properties, pre-construction investment properties, if you know your product in and out, if you're not out to scam or hurt or screw anybody over, then it's very hard for someone to not do business with you if your product's actually good, no matter your age.
Right.
So I think as long as you're competent and you actually genuinely believe in the product that you're selling, and if you genuinely sound like you're out to do good and not harm anybody, then people won't really care about your age. At the end of the day, my investors are only here to make money. So as long as I can show them that they can make money and that there's very little downside, in terms of risk, then they'll be glad to work with me. It's happened many times. I've sold condos, pre-construction condos over $1 million, but they would never flinch, because as long as you can make it clear to them that here's how the investment works, you're not going to make $1 million, but it's safe to say with the natural appreciation of the market, you might make $100,000 over the next 3 years. Then that's how this investment works. If you can explain that clearly and show the downside, that it's not as bad as what the media might make it out to be with all this crazy stuff that you see about pre-construction in the news, then I don't think your age matters. I probably have gotten asked about my age maybe 3 times over the last year. And even though I'm 22, I look like I'm 19 because I don't have any facial hair, as you can see, Rich.
So let this be a lesson. So thank you. And I think it's important. So what you're doing is you're leading the way for other people who are not making good decisions. They're having they have self-doubt, maybe a low self-image, confidence levels aren't as high, maybe they haven't had the right training, maybe they didn't have parents that love them enough. I don't know the story. So we all have a story that we're dealing with. But for those agents that are fighting with this challenge of maybe I'm too young, that's clearly not the case. And so the advice that I'm hearing from you, and if I could summarize that, is that you have to be very competent and know exactly what you're talking about. But there's a level of confidence in the competence that has to occur as well. And that is, you can't focus on people thinking about that I'm so young. You have to focus on helping people with the very best advice that you could possibly give. That's what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because on the flip side, sometimes people might be saying like, oh, well, sometimes this guy's a little bit too old. Maybe he doesn't remember things as clearly or whatever it is, right? So it's not really the age, it's not the color. If you could show people exactly what you could do and if it benefits them, I don't see why they would not want to work with you unless they're absolutely crazy. But
sure, Luc, I can't survive without my wife, and I can't survive without my phone because I forget everything all day, every day. I got lists upon lists upon lists I have to check off. So I completely support what you just said.
That's so funny.
So something really intrigued me. Okay, before we get to that, I do want to. You have a level of confidence that is kind of like it's not congruent with your age. And it's not like this cocky, arrogant confidence. It's a confidence that seems to have been instilled into you. And you believe in what you do, comes across. You believe in yourself, you believe in your knowledge. And so where, if you don't mind me asking, because a lot of people struggle with confidence. They wake up every single morning with self-doubt, uncertainty, not sure what's next, not sure what to do, always asking people for their opinion, not relying on their own opinion. So where did this faith and confidence in yourself come from? And did it honestly develop through you, or was it someone else? Sorry.
No, great question. And people need to understand where exactly confidence in general comes from. Because a lot of people knock themselves for having a lack of confidence, for being a little bit shy or timid. Confidence comes from experience. So the more you do things, the more confident you're going to be in that field. I'll give you an example. I can guarantee you, Rich, there hasn't been a single time where you've ever been nervous to brush your teeth because you've been doing it since you were born, right? So it's the same thing across anything else. If you're constantly doing the same thing over and over every single day, then it's hard for you not to be confident. It's hard for you not to, want to just grab the bull by the horns, right? So what I would tell salespeople is, if you're shy to pick up the phone, because we as salespeople, we know we have to pick up the phone, especially in 2023. People are not going to be calling us anymore. We have to be calling them. Then you have to do it every single day. That's the only way you're going to be confident in doing it. And then at one point in your career, you're just going to be so used to doing this, you're not even going to be thinking that you're doing this. And for the listeners and not the watchers, I'm making like a phone sign with my hands.
That's right.
So if you're constantly picking up the phone, meeting new people, nurturing your clients, calling your new leads, then it's gonna be like brushing your teeth to you. And you're gonna be ridiculously confident. You're not gonna have that little feeling in your chest where you get a little bit nervous. It just comes down to the repetition.
Repetition is the mother of skill.
That's it.
So if you look out, when you look out for, and that's a great answer. I want to unpack that just a little bit deeper, actually, because, I'll give you an example. Someone comes into the office every day and they know that they need to have many conversations every day. They know that's the truth, yet they don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Do you have an idea of why they don't do it?
There's so many coping mechanisms that everybody creates in their own mind, and it's all garbage. I'll give you an example of my own personal experience. I know for a fact that when I first started, because I listened to all these gurus that we see online, I fell into the trap of, read books and then manifest money into your life. Or no, do cold showers because it's going to do this for you. And then maybe one day you'll be motivated to work. That's just all garbage, because life is very black and white. It's either you make the calls and you do deals or not. It's either you work or you don't work. All the in-between stuff that people try to teach you to get motivated, to get up and work, and to do that and go to sleep at exactly this time and wake up at that time, and then you'll feel so good you'll be wanting to make these calls. It's garbage. You will get destroyed by the guys and gals in our industry that will do the sales calls and set the client appointment meetings, regardless of how they feel, regardless if they took the cold shower or not. We will destroy you because we know exactly what needs to get done. As salespeople, it's meet new people and nurture your clients. And if we're going to do that, regardless if we're reading books and sitting and meditating and hoping that we're going to manifest money into our bank accounts, you're just going to get ran over. Because going back to your question, it's all coping mechanism. So it's all coping mechanisms. So what you need to do is just understand that all that other stuff that you're making up in your head is what's going to kill you. Because there's guys and gals like you and I, Rich, where we still feel those things. We still feel sometimes a little bit like, maybe I'll just wait another couple of hours or so to call my clients or whatever and to congratulate them on that closing. If you don't do it now, you know what I mean? You're never going to do it. So you just got to get to it, and you have to just throw all that garbage out of your mind, because there's other people in your industry that are doing it, and those guys are the ones that are killing the game.
Got it. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. So when you look out the rest of this year, as of today, we're recording this in 2023, early 2023. When you look at your daily method of operation for the rest of the year, what does that look like for you?
Every single day is just making phone calls. So I had a meeting with the team every single day.
How many phone calls would you make in a day?
So I guess between just on myself, ideally I like to hit around 50.
Yep.
But because I end up having to actually do an actual transaction, I probably end up doing around 30 of that, 30 calls a day. And then look, I mean, even myself, someone doing the volume that I'm doing, I just live on this podcast, Rich, I just caught making an excuse. So there's guys like I'm not flawless. I'm still lacking the extra 20 that I could be making every single day. And maybe, who knows, that might get me to another extra 100 deals a year. But my day-to-day is just making as many phone calls as possible. For new agents, I would say meet as many people as possible so you can get more names in your database. But across myself and my colleagues, like my main core agents, we have 13,000 leads in our database. We don't need to be spending money on new ads for new leads. We can nurture what we have already, call 13,000 people over the next 365 days. 1% of them are going to convert. 5% are going to convert. That's enough to feed all of us. So we're just going to be nurturing our database. As the year goes by, naturally, we'll meet more people, get new referrals, and then that way we'll get new deals from there. But the day-to-day is just call as many people as possible. As a salesperson, there's no other job that you have. All the administrative stuff, that's what you have a brokerage for.
Got it.
Your office should be able to handle your listing agreement paperwork and all that stuff. If not, you should move brokerages.
Yep. Fair enough. So we have a few extra minutes. And so before we get to the next topic, because I'm kind of intrigued with the next topic and I'm intrigued with what you've said. And I do appreciate everything you said because I agree with everything you said. So I appreciate what you said because I agree with it. But the advice for any new agents, for any agents out there today, is that if you're not belly to belly in some way with people every single day, and to be fair, it probably has to be more than what most people think. Like you're saying 50, I know teams are making 350 calls a day. Their inside salesperson, somebody out of Whitby, Ontario, they're doing 350 minimum calls per day for one inside call center to the database. So it tells me that volume and deep relationships. So relationships at scale, which I'm trademarking that term, but relationships at scale is the name of the game. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, honestly, just for a split second there, I kind of got pissed off when you told me someone's making 350 calls. It's just like, well, now I got to make 360. That's what automatically goes into my brain. Right. So yeah, that's the main thing. Find somebody that can teach you. Yep. They don't have to be the number one guy in the country. I was blessed because Jazz at the time when I met him ran the number one team. Yep. Now in Royal LePage, I think we sit at number 2. I think the stats just came out about a month ago. We sit at number 2. But find somebody that can mentor you, whether they're the top of your office. Maybe they do 40, 50 transactions a year. That person is still credible enough to teach you exactly what to say and what not to say on the phone. So find that person.
I've seen the math. At 40, 50 transactions as a single producer on resale, they are top one.
Exactly.
That is top one in resale. That's a different game entirely. So that's great.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And there's lots of guys like that out there. So just network with that person and then get your own leads and nurture what you already have.
It's awesome. I can't tell you how much I appreciate your enthusiasm for the game, the enthusiasm for work. I don't see it very often. And I want you to know that I do appreciate it because that enthusiasm and certainty around the work will guarantee longevity in the business.
Yeah, real recognize real, Rich.
Right. That's a
real recognize real.
I'm writing that one down. So we're going to flip sides a little bit because I'm really curious because your assistants had sent something to me and this is unscripted. This is not part of any dialogue that you and I have had previously, but last year, on top of what you were doing, you developed, and I don't even know if you know that I was going to ask you this, but I'm going to put you on the spot.
Sure.
That you developed side hustle while you were involved in the game of real estate, helping people buy investment properties. So would you be open over the next 12 minutes or so to kind of share with us a little bit about why you did it, what did you do, in what field it is in, and the reason why I'm going to ask this is people tell me they don't have time, and this shows me that you have time to do whatever it is that you make time for. So, if you don't mind, I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah. So I started this side business called Auto Vision GTA that accidentally scaled to a 6-figure business within 4 months. And what this company is, it's an auto detailing company. And after about a month or so, we found that our niche wasn't to do just mobile detailing for private clients that wanted to get their car detailed on the driveway. Our niche was working with used car dealerships. The reason being is because dealerships are always buying and selling cars. And every time a car gets sold, before that, it needs to look presentable. It's kind of like staging a home. You don't want it to just look all messy and dirty.
Yeah.
So that's our niche. We started working with used car dealers, and we went from doing 1 to 2 cars per week to now doing about 120 to 130 cars per month. And because we do volume for dealers, we don't charge the typical $200 fee. On average, our fee can range anywhere from $100 to $150 a month. And now this business has been around for about 6, coming up to 7 months now. So yeah, so we've been making quite a bit of coin doing that. And it happened because last summer, the company that my brother worked for closed. I have a younger brother that's 2 years younger than me.
Yeah.
And he's never owned a business before. And he just randomly brought up the idea of doing detailing, because if he did it in the off hours, for private clients 5 times a week, charging $200 a car, that's $1,000 a week into his pocket. That's good enough money for him to live. And he's only doing 1 of them a day. And then we sat and thought about it. And within a matter of a day or two, we ended up starting a detailing business. I funded the entire thing. I provided the contacts. I provided the network, because I already had my real estate business at the time. I knew a lot of people. I knew a lot of people in the auto industry. And then he ran with it. He manages all of our staff, all of our detailers, and all of the, day-to-day stuff. I'm just there overwatching him. I'm now his mentor in business on what to do, how to manage your team, things of that nature. And yeah, he manages our dealer clients and all of that stuff, all of our staff and all of our detailers. And yeah, I mean, that happened relatively quick. He came up with the idea and I said, let's do it. Within a matter of a day or two, we had all the equipment. We didn't waste any time.
Right. Quick decisions are magical. How many staff do you have for this, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, it's a small operation. We have 3 people right now. 3 and 1/4 guy that's kind of part-time, not including my brother.
So you have 3 plus your brother who are doing 100 to 120 cars a month detailing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cars.
Yeah. And here's the nice thing. I haven't picked up a rag in who knows how long.
Yeah, right. And the overhead's tiny.
Yeah, because we narrowed it at the start. The overhead was quite high because we didn't know what exactly to buy, what products were good, what chemicals were good, et cetera, et cetera. But we narrowed it down. We found the exact chemicals to use. We found the best brand. Like a lot of people listening to this probably won't know the brand, but we found the best brand that just does everything. It's like that one chemical that cleans everything, makes it look perfect.
Yeah.
We narrowed it down to that one product. And yeah, like our overhead is like, in terms of chemicals, we probably spent $150 every 2.5 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. And apart from that, it's just labor. That's where all the other money goes into, labor, and that's it.
Right. Because people got to live and they got to eat. So, well, that's fantastic. And I think the lesson here for all of us, including myself, is that, I'm under the impression like you don't have kids or
right.
That's okay. So you don't have kids, but your side business becomes like its own family and its own responsibility, which is a time suck, right? In some ways, right? And you run a new construction sales team that's operating at a very high volume level. And so someone says, well, yeah, he doesn't have the time. He has the time. He doesn't have responsibilities. Well, I got to be honest with you. If you're operating 2 ventures with many people that you have to coordinate, that is a feat unto itself. And for those people who say they don't have time, you need to maybe reevaluate where you're spending your time and what you're doing every day.
I think you said that perfectly, because a lot of people, it goes back to the coping mechanisms we were talking about. It's hard for me to say this because I'm 22 and I had no kids, but I hear a lot of people say, oh, I have kids, I have this, I have that, I have these responsibilities. If these responsibilities are so bad and so detrimental to the fact that you're not where you would like to be in your business, then why are you defending it? If these things are genuinely sucking you away from where you'd like to be in your business, if let's just say you want to make $100,000 and as a real estate salesperson, but you keep saying that, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to cook when I get home. These things are like, there's so many easy workarounds around these things that there should be no excuses. We all have the same 24 hours. There are people in your industry that have so many. Elon Musk, doesn't he have 9 kids? Come on. Mm-hmm. This guy just bought Twitter. He has space. I see him on Twitter launching rockets into space. And I hear this about Tesla. I never once seen Elon ever complain about time. And now he's doing podcasts. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I know Elon's operating at an extremely high level, but there's so many people, regular people like you and I, that we just walk by on the streets and we don't even realize that these people are also running high-level organizations in their own respect, and they're not complaining and they're not making excuses. So the biggest difference maker isn't the fact that I don't have kids or this person next to you doesn't have kids. The biggest difference maker is that person just doesn't make excuses.
Well said, my friend. Well said. I can't tell you how thankful I am for you to have spent some time with us this morning. As always, people's attention span only lasts as long as the butt can handle. And so I want to thank you so much for spending time with us. Once you give time, you can't give it back. I appreciate you spending some time and sharing some information around what you do every day. The advice has been fantastic in regards to pre-construction and time management and belly-to-belly marketing. I appreciate it. What's the best way for someone to get in touch with you in the future?
Yeah, you can find everything about me on my website, luclising.com. That's LUCLISING.com.
Perfect.
There you can see my social links. I'm probably most active when it comes to responding to DMs on Instagram, which is also at Luc Lising. And I'm glad you mentioned that, and that you're giving me this time to just mention that. I don't have anything to sell. I don't have a course, training program, none of that stuff. When I first started, looking back at everything, I'm only where I'm at right now because I had somebody to say, Luke, you're making a mistake. Don't do it. I'd love to be that person for people. So if you ever need advice, if you're a new agent, a seasoned agent, whatever it is, if you want to connect, collaborate, if you want to just ask questions, you can find me on my website or on Instagram at Luc Lising.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Luke. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Rich.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you like what you've heard and you're interested in creating a quantum leap in your real estate business, here's what I want you to do next. Head over to www.theunstoppableagentprogram.com and book an appointment to speak with our team. We'll get on a Zoom call with you for about 30 minutes and get you crystal clear on 3 things. Number 1, what do you really want out of your life and your business? Number 2, what is not working for you today? And number 3, the exact mindset strategy you should be using to create massive change in these areas. Remember, creating massive, consistent results in your real estate business does not happen by itself. You need expert guidance to make it happen. We're helping clients all over the world create peak results in their real estate business. To see if we can help you do the same, head over to www.theunstoppableagentprogram.com. We'll chat soon.